What up, Dokkanners? Now we're going to be checking out the Global Dokkan campaign announcement video and just going over all of the details that were revealed in this video. Now, if you want to see the reaction of this, go check out my previous video, because this is not going to have any reaction, really any emotion, because I've already got all of that out of my system. This is just going to be talking about everything that they showed, and I'm going to be giving some thoughts now post-reaction. Now that I've come off of this high, I want to talk about how I feel about this, because there are some new things that I've been thinking about since the reaction. So let's go ahead and jump in here. Starting at the top, Omatsu is still very much a part of Dokkan, so he hasn't been around for a little while. There was some concern over that. Also, there's Ken, a member of Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle staff. And they jump in and start talking about some of the basics, some of the stuff that we already know. Global Dokkan campaign 2025 will begin July 6th. So that means my time, probably 5-6 hours after Global's daily reset, about 12 hours after JP's daily reset on that day. We should be jumping into the full-on campaign. And that is also around the time that we're going to be having that infinite boost thing for like 13 or 14 hours. They don't talk about that here, but they'll probably mention that on the upcoming like Dokkan Now special. But first thing, they go over a couple of things that we already know. This diagram right here is just to reiterate what's going on in terms of the celebrations. Anniversary-sized campaigns will be happening twice a year. So this confirms a couple of things. Number one, the renaming. They are no longer going to be calling it an anniversary. It is going to be now called the Dokkan Supreme Celebration. One thing I'm curious about is if they're going to continue to call it like the 11th Dokkan Supreme or the 12th Dokkan Supreme, or will it be like Dokkan Supreme Celebration celebrating 11 years of Dokkan? Or are they just going to start over and call it the first Dokkan Supreme Celebration, the second, and whatnot? We'll have to wait and see. The anniversary where Globals was located and the worldwide celebration, all of that coalesces into the Global Dokkan campaign, which we're about to jump into. And then Tanabata, which is normally in July for JP players specifically. This is going to be very confusing because their like cultural festival happens in July. But that celebration is now going to move down to September and October. Now, the thing about this one is that it is not an anniversary-sized campaign. So while this is still the big three of the year, the Tanabata celebration is not going to be on the same level as these two. So these are still the two biggest, but the next big celebration would be this one. And this one's about a month apart from the Global Dokkan campaign, while the two anniversary-sized campaigns are half a year apart, and that will always be the case. So it's a very good even distribution in terms of where those celebrations are going to be located. Then they go into some of the stuff that we already know in regards to the perfect cooperation team battle. This event will be continuing to evolve. They are sort of mimicking the reversible exchange mechanic. This was also why it was fairly obvious we were going to be getting reversible exchange characters during this celebration, because this essentially, mimics that. Over the course of the celebration, we'll be getting more stages, so probably this cover art will change. I would imagine that the final stage will have something to do with whatever the part 2 LRs are, and the apex of part 1 will probably be Future Saga based. Then they go on to discuss the chance time stuff, so I kind of forgot about this. The actual drawings of the chance balls will be happening on the 5th of July at 1800 or something like that. I'll get to that at the end of the video. But when we get to the Dokkan Now presentation, that is when you will actually find out who won this. So if you haven't done so, pick up whichever numbers you want. You could be safe and pick all of them and guarantee 30 stones, 15 for each ball drawn, or you could go further and just go all in one to try to get 15 times however many you chose for that one specific number. It's all or nothing, whatever you want, but make sure you pick those balls before, I think that is it actually might be over already. No, I think it's just before the 5th. I think you still have time. I'm not sure, but that's the last thing that they review. After that, they jump in and they talk about the campaign itself. The theme of the Global Dokkan celebration is breaking through. So another generic, well, not generic, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty generic, pretty vague, pretty general, all-encompassing sort of theme. Just like Tenkan in the anniversary, that was second to none in the world, which is so broad. This one also feels very broad to me. They go on to then say, Omatsu then says it represents the harsh fights of warriors who fought to break through the future by confronting powerful enemies. I did not take this as it is a hard-coded thing specifically for Future Saga. I think that was, again, just being kind of poetic, but more so also specifically talking about part 1. Because when you are trying to break through against an opponent, you are trying to secure your future. Like if you're fighting an Avengers level threat, the world is at stake, your future is at stake. If you don't beat the villain, you have no future, you're dead. So breaking through into the future, breaking through the future just means beating the villain. So I don't think that this means anything specific. Also, It's good to know that Goresh sort of feels the same way, because based on the Japanese speaking, it was sort of interpreted in a similar way. Based on the wording, the reveal is possibly not a full Future Saga celebration, according to Goresh. In the Japanese reveal, Omatsu says something along the lines of, the celebration is about fierce fights against powerful enemies that break through the future and destiny. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to recontextualize this speech in whatever format they need to make it apply to whatever the part 2 theme is going to be. If you can't tell already, the part 1 theme is Future Saga, because we are having Future Saga. You might already see it on the thumbnail. So that is the theme for this campaign. Then we jump into the actual unit reveal. So I'm not going to play it out loud, but what happens is basically the orchestra, instead of playing the Dokkan theme song, they now play one of the iconic Dragon Ball Super themes, Chozetsu Dynamic. And so this plays while these two strands of whatever is flying through the world. If you don't know what that song is, it's the na 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 ni no ni no no mommy 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 baby. And then we see Future Saga Fusion Zamasu. So my initial reaction was overwhelmingly hyped, because I knew that this was going to be a reversible exchange Fusion Zamasu, or a reversible exchange Zamasu Rose. I have been yearning for this since the 10th anniversary. If they were going to give us a super class version of this, they should have also given us an extreme class version of this during the 10th anniversary. But the fact that we're getting it during the Global Dokkan celebration, better late than never, that had me very excited. Another reason why I was excited about this is because I need Future Saga to do better, because the celebration back in 2023 was fun for me personally, but with some of those units aging out, this category, this set of units needed to get better. So assuming this is going to be a good unit, that means good things for the future of the Future Saga category. So that was why my reaction was positive. Then on top of this, a big surprise, we then pivot away from Zamasu and Goku Black Rose into these guys. I was not expecting this. So when I saw this, my gut reaction is, oh my God, I am getting a straight up Vegito. A straight up Vegito Blue. I was super ecstatic about that. And again, for the same reason that I mentioned before, Future Saga during 2023 aged out fairly quickly. And one of the biggest memes of all time that now infiltrates other gaming communities came from this. We Saiyans have no limits. That whole thing came from this. AGL Blue Goku Vegeta with similar animations. So the fact that we were going to be potentially getting a better version of the Worldwide Celebration 2023 had me excited, because it would right the wrongs that were done to this poor category back then. That was why I was excited. After a little while, I kind of realized, wait a second, wasn't Future Saga Celebration like just 2 years ago? It is fairly recent. And that is something that I mentioned in my reaction. This is cutting it kind of close, but if the units are good, and if the units are really, really going to make the categories better, then for me personally, it will make it less of an issue. I know that some people are going to have major qualms with this, because number one, it is repeating a celebration that we had basically 2 years ago. But then number two, the other thing is, neither of these characters are seemingly going to be fusing into their fused forms and staying that way. They are only going to be relegated to animations from attacks. So this is another thing that Goresh talked about. Went through the Japanese reveal with Goresh, and he confirms that they are implying Vegito Blue and Fusion Zamasu are just attacks and not a playable version. So this reminds me of two things. Number one, the tech gods from the 7th anniversary. I don't believe the reaction was that negative about that, because during the 7th anniversary, we had the LR Super Saiyan 4s have a full-on transformation into their fused state, and then they were usable. And then for the gods, they transformed into the Blue Saiyans, but then their active skill was the Gogeta Fusion. But because the unit was so good, I feel like the reception was far less negative. Right now, because we are waiting to learn what these units do, there's a lot of negativity around these characters because of that fact. And I can't necessarily blame them, because a more recent example of the hypest part of a unit being relegated to something that's not actually a tangible use is Beast Gohan. 2023, I think at the beginning of 2023, we got physical Ultimate Gohan that gave birth to the active skill Beast Gohan, which was so egregious. To think that you would start superheroes representation in Dokkan by making the most iconic character an active skill. That rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. So because of that precedent, it's bringing back some negative feelings. But I was still too over the moon over the fact that we could be looking at redemption for Future Saga, so I was still happy. And then the other thing is, there's only 2 LRs here. And throughout the course of the video, they kept saying, please wait until the end. we are not at the end. So there's got to be more, right? So I was kind of holding on to that as hope as well. And then for a little while, they go into discussing these characters. They talk about how the featured characters for part 1 are going to be these two. They don't mention anything else about a third, which has me a little nervous. But as you can see here, the plus sign means it is a reversible exchange. Reversible exchange is an awesome mechanic, in my opinion. I think that this is one of the best mechanics Dokkan has ever done. Some characters have attack mode, defense mode. Actually, so far, all the reversible exchanges have had that, I think, except for the free-to-play. I like the changing and strategies that you can sort of do on a dime. I like the flexibility that you have in various positions with this attack mode, defense mode kind of switch thing. So I like this. Based on just simply the new mechanic, I'm excited for these two units. Again, we got to see what they can actually do, but we do know that both of them are reversible exchange. Actually, wait, are they both Dokkan festivals? Did they say anything about that? I don't know if they did. I'm not sure if they actually did say anything about that. Let me see. The climax of the Dragon Ball Future Super arc. Yeah, Dragon Ball Super Future. You got Blue Vegeta, Blue Goku. We got Rose Zamasu. Unlike that, I don't think they actually say that they are Dokkan festivals. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure they didn't. They had the audacity to compare this to Kale and Caulifla. That made me sad because Kale and Caulifla, while they have their use, they don't fuse. Like if you're gonna do reversible exchange, you have to have some. I feel like you have to fuse. At least for now, like with all of these fusing characters, if you're going to do a reversible exchange with them, you got to fuse with them. So anyway, after they talk about how these characters are reversible exchange, let's talk about the active skills. Oh, hold on. Active skills. Goku Black's active skill allows him to launch an overwhelming attack with Zamasu. Oh, I didn't actually read this before. While Zamasu's power allows the duo to merge into Fusion Zamasu. So yeah, you can see from the wording that the Fusion Zamasu appears through the attack only, and it is not like a full-on usable character. What if these characters do something that is so unprecedented that they make Tech Fusion Zamasu 10 times better? They make AGL We Saiyans Have No Limits a billion times more relevant. We don't know. So I just think that once we hit July 5th, that's going to be truly where we can judge these characters for what they are. Speaking of, this is going to be happening July 5th, 1800 PST, which actually means 1900 PDT. So about 2 hours after that day's global reset, and about 11 hours after that day's JP daily reset. That is going to be when the Dokkan Now Special Global Dokkan Campaign 2025 will take place. And that broadcast will be where they go over all the animations, go over all the unit details, anything else in the campaign. Maybe they tease something else. Okay, what I'm about to say is probably just me hoping way too much. But maybe they reveal something else during Dokkan Now. Maybe this isn't everything. I feel like it is, but this is just like that one little ounce of desperation. My last gut reaction after the end of this, when I learned that there was nothing at the end, they lied to me. I'm thinking to myself, where's Daima? I still think Daima has a place in this, mainly because of the theme. They said breakthrough. Breakthrough on the most literal sense applies to Super Saiyan 4 Goku. So breaking through still very much works. Not to mention the orchestra playing songs. They're not just going to have them in here for part 1. They're going to have this in part 2. And they're going to have the orchestra play some special song in part 2. It has to be either Z or Dragon Ball or GT or Daima. I don't think it could be Super again. Because if they play another Super theme song, I don't know, I just feel like that's kind of overlapping. But you know what? Then again, maybe they might do that. So I'm still holding out hope for part 2. Let's wait and see what these units can do in part 1. I will now be checking out your community reaction to this whole ordeal. So let me know what you guys think on that tweet, but that's going to be where we call it. Again, I still feel good about it. Reversible exchange, good. Future Saga potentially becoming a better category, good. Yes, it's weird that it is coming back so soon after 2023, but all of my woes in regards to that will go away if these units are absolutely monstrous. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, obviously like down below. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on these two characters in terms of your initial reaction versus maybe your reaction after thinking about it a little bit. Where do you stand on it now? Are you waiting to see what the units do, or have you decided that these units are either fantastic or terrible? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more content in the future and click the notification bell so that you'll do some know you want to see more. Up to it. Thanks again. Stay tuned, and always remember to Dokkan responsibly.